minute left. Is gonna get the game winner and the win for Captain Munnerlyn in his first game as Cougars head coach.
You have a lot of action. Meanwhile, a historic night for Garinger High School, who won its first varsity football game since 2019, ending a 48-game losing streak with a 36-6 victory over Winston-Salem Prep on Friday night. The last time Garinger won a game before this was, get this, October the 11th, 2019, when they defeated East Mecklenburg High School. Now, for new head coach Jupiter Wilson, it was the first step in building a new culture.
I tell our guys all the time about redemption. There's not a story to tell unless we're able to push through and overcome. So everybody wants to see from Garinger, you haven't won a game in technically 6 years, 0-50 or 0-48, whatever the case may be. And I said if we're going to get that redemption story, we've got to press through and be able to overcome some things, athletically, academically, on the field, off the field. And that last thing, God gives glory, is just reminding them that we're just playing for something a little bit bigger than ourselves.
A great message from a great coach. Garinger will now look to go on a 2-game winning streak this Friday night as they travel to Lake Norman Charter to face the Knights, who lost week 1 to South Lake Christian Academy.
Now let's take a look. Porter Ridge up against A.L. Brown. In this new segment, we're going to show you this player right here, the wide receiver taking it from the snap, Rayshawn Elmore. Why do we care? Well, paired with L.J. Porter here, his first game with Huff. These two are ECU Pirate commits, and they balled out in week 1. Rayshawn had 3 rushing touchdowns in his game against A.L. Brown. And over here you see L.J. Porter chasing down Jazavion Currents from South Point. He terrorized in the Keep Pounding Classic. 11 total tackles, 2 for a loss, and a sack as well. We're going to keep talking about these players in this NIL Spotlight, and they're going to show you key pieces to the schools they're going to be going to next year. So ECU Pirates fans better watch out for these two guys. Now, let's turn our attention to tonight's action and our Bahakel Sports Game of the Week that kicks off in less than 30 minutes right here on WCCB. We've got 2 state champions from last year facing off as West Charlotte travels to Monroe.
Yep, West Charlotte, who won the 3A state championship last season, is coming off a heartbreaking overtime loss last Friday night to Grimsley, who won the state 4A championship last year. The 1-point loss still on the minds of the Lions. As for Monroe, they kicked off their 2025 season with a shutout win against Hoke County, 35-0. For head coach Johnny Sowell, he expects both teams and their fans to show up and show out.
Anytime we can play, a Johnny Sowell team, that's definitely beneficial for us as well. They're well coached. It's like looking at ourselves in the mirror and the aspect of just like their physicality, their speed, and we're excited. We want to see those type of things, and it's good RPI for both teams. It's going to be good for them. It's going to be good for us.
Well, it's going to be one of those games that, Monroe crowd's going to be there, West Charlotte's crowd's going to be there, and I think it comes down to who makes the mistakes. They're sound. We're young in some spots, but we got better last week. So we expect to play a little better this week, and, we're going to go out and play as far as we can play.
Now, these two teams met in week 2 of last year, but Mother Nature had other plans. The game was suspended at the end of the first quarter and was never rescheduled, so we didn't get to see what was going to be eventually a state championship matchup.
Okay, was that Coach Griner or was that a Captain Jack Sparrow lookalike?
Look at Griner got his ring. He's feeling nice right now, but of course he still wants to get that back-to-back that everyone thinks he can't get.
And it's going to be a great matchup. I mean,
absolutely.
Coach Sal, I visited with him earlier this week, and what he brings to the table, and that defense, they were practicing defense that day, and he was like, just go out there, play what we've taught you to play. You've won state championships. You know what you're doing. Go out there and play hard. But West Charlotte, I mean, that 1-point loss, that's got to sting.
Yeah, it's 2 different stories of 2 different week 1s, right? Monroe dominating Hoke County, which was anyone surprised that they did. And then West Charlotte hanging around competing with a guy who is the #1 player in the country in Faison Brandon and Grimsley. So the fact that they were able to stick there, it's like which carries more momentum coming in, the team with a 1-point loss or the team with a blowout victory. But either way, it's going to be an amazing matchup, I think. And, Griner was really adamant. He said he wants to make sure that all the fans from West Charlotte come to this game, right? He was like, you can travel to Bank of America Stadium. Right. You can come, obviously, down right onto Beatty's Ford. But taking that trip to Monroe is a different story.
It's a little bit further. But real quick, before we go to commercial, Garinger, congrats.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's such a great win, and to kick off your season like that, a new head coach in Jupiter Wilson, and the message he's bringing, he has set the tone.
Yeah, and they were looking for something to finally just get them over that hump, right? And you have players that their entire career hadn't won in high school, so to get that first win, hoping they can get a second, but we'll see when we come to the Blitz.
Absolutely. All right, stick around. Coming up next, we will introduce you to one young man who might be the best linebacker in our area and does a lot of work off and on the field also. More Varsity Spotlight coming at you next.
Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. Every week we introduce you to high school athletes from around the Queen City who have great stories to tell.
Absolutely. Now this week we head to Independence High School where Dallas Brandon plays. He's one of the best linebackers in the state, and his hard work both on and off the field has paid off.
My name is Dallas Brandon. I'm a senior at Independence High School. So I started playing football around the age of like 7 or 8, Little League. My pops played football, so that's kind of where I got my interest from it.
Dallas probably wanted to start to play football, probably with me. I'm a big football fan, so I like football on all levels. So I would say Dallas probably came interested in playing football probably around the age of 5 or 6.
I was a little bigger, a little chunkier when I was younger, so I played like offensive lineman. As far as I growing out, I started getting taller, leaned out, and then the game started getting more fun when that happened. Getting to be a quarterback when I was younger, being a running back when I was younger, just getting the ball in my hands and just playing free. I mean, I feel like that's when the game's most pure.
I had heard his name. I knew his dad played here. When he came to our open middle school night, you know, I didn't think he was coming here. And then he just showed up first day of summer practice. I'm like, oh my God, we got one. And he's been great ever since, man. The first freshman year, we knew he was physical. First day we put on pass, so we're like, okay, this kid can help us out. Ever since then, man, he's just taken off like a rocket ship. He's gotten better each and every year.
Yeah, so I got 4.3 GPA. I'll be lying if I said my parents didn't hold me to a high standard with grades, but you know, some of that comes from me, like just being interested in learning, like deeply interested in learning. We did the play Grease in the school musical.
Dallas is a thinker. He likes to think. He loves to read. He loves music. People that know him that's in his inner circle. In his spare time, he likes to create beats.
I think one thing I definitely overcame was, so I got sports asthma, so I definitely feel like I overcame that because like my freshman year, like I used to be gasping for breath, but you know, like I feel like I like to tell people I ran it out of me. Like, you know, I've been out here conditioning. I like to be in the front most times. I am in the front most times. I'll run extra, like outside of practice.
We always talk about trying to reach your full potential, and I think that's what makes him so great. And I think that also rubs off on some of the other players around him.
And greatness, I'm pretty sure if I go in his room, it's somewhere written probably 1,000 times. And he knows that once he writes it down, once he sees it, he also has to come over here and put in the hard work to try to obtain it as well. Because just saying it and writing it down is not enough. You actually got to walk it every day as well.
Football to me is a brotherhood. That's why I love to play the sport. You know, a lot of these guys on the team, I went to middle school with some of these guys. They've been here since my freshman year. You can't beat playing with your best friends that you've been growing up with since you was 12, 13, 14. So just pushing each other for greatness every day, because we got that bond, we got that brotherhood, is something I really enjoy about playing the sport. So I'm committed to the University of Virginia, Charlottesville. So just knowing I can put on that uniform, go out there and ball out in front of a bunch of fans, you know, you can't beat that. That's the dream. That's for sure the dream. Greatness to me means you give me your all at any given moment that you can give your all. I mean, you're not gonna be 100% every day. You're not gonna be 100% every down, every drive. But like, if you can give 100% what you got in the tank, that's what greatness is.
If you follow Charlotte football, you know what Dallas Brandon does on the field. I'm hoping this spotlight can kind of show who he is off the field. The kids in theater, the kids on the yearbook staff, the kid just went on a Dreammakers trip to DC. He has a 4.4 GPA.
Dallas, senior season, baby. Hey, it's been a long road. You've done a great job here in Independence. Now it's time to seal the deal. I can't wait to see you play. Friday Night Lights is upon us, and I can't wait to see what you and your team are going to do this particular year. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the Patriots. I'm rooting for Coach McFadden, man. This is going to be a great year. I think everybody on the team is committed to greatness, and I can't wait to see you as well as your teammates put on for the city. Big Eye, let's go.
My name is Dallas Brandon, and this is my Varsity Spotlight.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to think anything about him or if you want to know anything about him, just the fact that he still wears the neck roll, the high neck pad as a linebacker, that's not something that a high school player wears, or in college or NFL. It just speaks, you know he's going to hit you in the mouth.
And you're going to UVA.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about, you know, good football program, but an awesome academic school, that ain't easy to do.
No, so it speaks to the fact of how much he had to keep up with his grades, how much his parents instilled that upon him, and that it obviously paid off for where he's getting to go to the next level.
So listen, we're always wanting to hear more stories like this. If you have one, make sure you reach out to us on our social media accounts. Go to WCCBCharlotte.com. You can email Jack or myself. But if you have a story out there you want us to tell it, let us know and make sure you get in touch with us, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't have to just be football either. We're doing all sports, right?
Yeah, whatever. Soccer, cheerleading, you name it.
Absolutely. All right, well, coming up next, we're going to take a look across the Queen City and surrounding areas and check in on some volleyball and soccer action that took place over the last few days. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. I'm Jack Taylor. Now, we've already taken a look at some of the action from last week's high school football games, so let's switch over and take a look at some of the other high school sports being played in the fall.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeff Taylor, and we start with soccer, and no one may be playing better than the Mavericks of Marvin Ridge. So let's start with this segment of highlights with Palisades taking on Marvin Ridge. The Mavericks came into this one undefeated, and they would stay that way. Marvin Ridge would get 2 goals from senior DJ Smith and 1 goal apiece from Evan Walker and Puyan Salami. What a great name. Palisades would get 2 goals from Junior Estrada, who happens to be a senior, by the way. Marvin Ridge would win this one 4-2. The Mavericks would beat Garinger a few days later and sit 5-0 on the soccer season.
That's pretty impressive starting off. Now, switching to volleyball, a battle of the Mex. East taking on North. East Mech and North Mech, obviously. Now, this one would go to the Eagles in all 3 sets. They were close, but East Mech's going to get one win, 25-20, one 25-19, and then another one, 25-20. And since that win, the Eagles have won 2 more and stand at 12-4 on the season. Now, the loss for North Mech obviously frustrated them because they would drop them to 3-3, and they sit at 4-4 after splitting their last 2 games. They just couldn't get over the hump against East Mech.
More volleyball for you. On we go. Audrey Kell and Huff facing Huff, and this one might be one of the best matches so far in the 2025 season on the volleyball court. AK would win the first set. The Huskies storm back. They win the next 2, putting them up 2-1. The Knights would not go away, however. They would win the 4th set, sending this one to the 5th and deciding set. The Knights of Audrey Kell win this set 16-14 and close out the match 3-2. AK now sits at 5-5 on the season. Huff 2-6, but what an epic matchup between those 2.
Yeah, I always love when they go to that 5th set, right? And you go to 15 points instead of 25. It really just heightens that aggression and heightens that emphasis on that set. Now, we're not done. Hickory Ridge taking on Central Cabarrus. This one was all Raging Bulls all day long. They would sweep this one 3-0. 25-12, 25-17, 25-18. No need for 4th or 5th sets here. The Raging Bulls now on a 2-game winning streak and are 4-2 this season. Central Cabarrus just cannot seem to get one through. They are winless at 0-4.
All right, final stop for you. We have Piedmont and Marvin Ridge. The Mavericks dominated this match, winning in 3 straight sets. This one was never close, folks. Marvin Ridge making a strong statement early in the 2025 volleyball season. They're a perfect, get this, 9-0.
Wow.
That is impressive. As for Piedmont, it is a different story. They sit at 2-2 on the season.
Marvin Ridge seems like they're sweeping in all kinds of fall sports. Soccer, football, volleyball. The Mavericks can't be beaten. All right, well, there was a lot of highlights in there, and it's going to make next week's Play of the Week poll a tough decision, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We've got some tough choices that we gave y'all already in our first poll of the season, and you all responded resoundingly with a clear choice for the Play of the Week. There are a lot of great plays as the season started, but no one started out of the gate faster than Mason Iovino and the Cuthbertson Cavs, at least in the beginning of this game. You take the handoff, finds the hole, turns on the jet, 77-yard barnstormer. The touchdown. No one would touch him that entire play. It got things going early for the Cavs, and even though they would go on to lose this game in the end, guys, it's not called the Game of the Week. That's something else we do. It's called the Play of the Week. This one was a thing of beauty, and this play will be the first to enter the pool for the end of the fall sports season, where we'll pit every play against each other to determine the play of the fall. And remember, you can vote for next Monday's plays on our website at WCCBCharlotte.com and on X as well.
Yeah, Mason Avino, he had a great game. I was there. The kid can run, let me tell you that. All right, we have one more segment for you, and coming up, we will set the table for week 2 of high school football. Stick around. We got more Varsity Spotlight coming at you next.
Welcome back to Varsity Spotlight. We're just a few minutes away from kickoff of week 2 of high school football, and there are some great matchups ahead tonight.
Week 2 already?
I know, right? You can't say that now,
Yeah,
okay?
I
You
know.
got to pump the brakes.
All right, with new classifications and conferences in place, I'm pretty sure every Friday night will offer great matchups, correct?
Yeah, there's really no shortage of games to take a look at. And starting with one of the biggest ones, Huff traveling to Independence. Both coming off of week 1 wins against South Carolina powerhouses, with Huff beating South Point and Independence beating Gaffney. Now, after the Huff win, Deshaun Baker, head coach, famously said, "We're the kings of the Queen City."
Exactly.
And there's no better challenger for the throne right now than Independence. That's one of the big ones, from the MEC Power 6 that could challenge for that role.
Think Coach McFadden has that on billboard anywhere?
Absolutely. They met in the round 2 of the playoffs last season. Huff with a huge win. Patriots looking for revenge. Now, another good matchup as well.
Yeah, the Butler Bulldogs travel to Corbion. Coach Hale's back. He's looking for win 2 as they took care of Olympic last Saturday night. Loved the light show there at Memorial Stadium. Corbion started with the season win against Harding. This will be 8A taking on a 2A school. Interesting to see how this one pans out.
Now, we talked about Garinger looking for their second win. Actually, their second win in the last 50 games. They'll be taking on Lake Norman Charter. Should be a good one. Now, another one, Sun Valley at Mooresville. Both teams coming off of tough losses. Blue Devils against Weddington. Sun Valley losing to Lake Norman. So they're both trying to right the ship here, get their offenses going. It's going to be a big, big matchup for these two schools that know each other pretty well.
Yeah, Mooresville's got to get their offense going. They just didn't get out of the gate quick. And I know Weddington has a tough defense, but it was just tough.
Yeah, we saw Weddington there, but we can also talk about Myers Park. Had a huge win against J.M. Robinson in the Kickoff Classic.
Yep.
Now they're going on the road again. Weddington, 2 home games in a row, but they're bringing Myers Park into town, which is going to be a tougher matchup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what Chris James has done has been awesome.
Absolutely.
And I think, he obviously is all good.
Yeah,
he makes it tough.
Now looking at this game, A.L. Brown versus Porter Ridge. Porter Ridge getting a big win. They'll be taking on AK. That's not going to be an easy matchup. And then A.L. Brown going to be facing off against Concord, again in Kannapolis, for the Battle of the Bell, which used to be like the last game of the season, and now because of the new conferences has been pushed up to week 2.
I had a chance to talk to both head coaches from Concord and A.L. Brown, and what that means to them. Mm-hmm. But playing it so early,
I know,
is kind of crazy. But I can promise you this: that town will be shut down.
Absolutely, it always is.
As we always say, that's the best part about high school. But for Concord, they've been so close so many times. I think last week in their game,
they were up big against Mount Pleasant,
right? And there was a 4th and 4 that they decided to go for on their side of the field, and it's if you get it, great. If you don't, it's one of those good call, bad call things. Yeah. But they've been so close, and for them to get over the hump and be able to beat A.L. Brown, I mean, easier said than done. I don't know.
And taking on 2 big opponents in that time frame. There's a couple other ones as well. Charlotte Christian taking on Charlotte Catholic. That's going to be a huge matchup for the area. You've got Shelby taking on Crest in another big game as well. Providence Day heading to Rolesville.
That's going to be, I want to see that one.
Yeah. Providence, who's going to be on the road for a majority of their season, has to travel to East Lincoln again, and that's going to be a really big game for them, taking on East Lincoln, a perennial powerhouse these last few years, and a quarterback who just broke their record for the most touchdowns scored in a single game for the school. So that's going to be huge for Providence to take on. We talked about Crest being on the road at Shelby.
That's a big one.
Yeah. The Salisbury.
They just keep going.
Right. The Salisbury North Lorraine game, another game that's normally the end of the year.
Right.
Now it's the beginning of the season.
Right.
So a huge one. And then lastly, you got Jake Bentley, new head coach for Rock Hill. They're going to be, or not, I'm sorry, not Rock Hill. He's Nation Ford. Yep. They're taking on somebody else, but Rock Hill taking on South Point.
With an E.
Game for that area.
With an E.
With an E. Yes, with the E, not the Belmont South Point.
We always get it mixed up. And back to Providence real quick. Coach Ward, Jackson Deeby, that quarterback, that's some pretty powerful stuff there on that offense.
Yeah, it's going to be a high-flying game for sure for East Lincoln. A lot of scores in the area. We're going to try to track them all down during the Blitz. Now, that's it for this week's Varsity Spotlight. Stay tuned for our Bahakel Sports Game of the Week between West Charlotte and Monroe right here on WCCB. A good one on the call.
And right after that, stay with us on WCCB. We'll bring you the Blitz, all the scores and highlights from an exciting week 2. That's at 10:30 during the news. We will see you then. Hey, enjoy all the high school football, all the high school sports. We'll see you next week on Varsity Spotlight.